Hello, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're here at the Guadalupe National Park, southwest Texas, down below Roswell. And we have just completed the McKittrick Trail. It's the McKittrick Canyon Trail, which leads up to the McKittrick Ridge campsite. We did 9.13 miles, I believe, going up. That was with a little excursion to see the grotto and the Pratt cabin. On the way down this morning, we did 8 1/3 miles. So I think the total elevation gain going up was just under 3,000 feet. So it was a pretty tough climb. We have everything documented so you can see the full trail, all the different features, and we're gonna just kind of give you some tips on what we wish we knew before we came. For one, get there the day before the park closes, before the visitor center closes, which is about 4 o'clock, 4:30. You have to have a backwoods permit to camp, and if you wait until the day of, they don't open until 8 o'clock, and that's New Mexico time. So that's 9 o'clock Central time, and we're right on the border. So you're going to be 10 o'clock before you're hitting the trail, and then you've got a 7-hour hike up in the sun. So definitely get there the day before, get your permit, camp out in the McKittrick Trail parking lot where they close the gate at 6. That way you can hit the trail as early as you'd like. That's a big tip. Number 2 is we brought 5 liters of water each, and we ran out of water about 3 miles from the van coming home. So definitely no less than 6 liters per person, and I would say as much as you can stand to carry. You're going to need a lot of water. The relative humidity is down below 15%, so even though you might not even be sweating, your body is just releasing that moisture. So take a lot of water. The next thing that we did is we packed stuff. We had our Canon T7. That camera and the lenses is so heavy. I brought a hatchet because I'm just so attached to that hatchet when I go camping. We had a Bluetooth speaker that we never even turned on. We had a kit, like a mess kit, that was pretty heavy plastic, and we never used it because we didn't want to waste water to wash it up. So really think about what you really are going to have, and don't take it unless it's a necessity, because it's a very tough climb. The next thing I would say is, on your way up, go ahead and skip the Pratt cabin and skip the grotto on your way up, because that's the easiest part of the trail, and you're going to burn 30 minutes to an hour and extra mileage before you face a really tough climb. So save that for your trip down. You're going to come down, you're going to be tired, and you're going to be ready for a break, and that's a perfect place to cool off. The last tip that we have would be, other than your water, bring some electrolyte powder, whatever you would take if you were going to do really tough training. Take that, Gatorade, anything like that, in addition to your water, because over 2 days, you know, it's nice to have water, but it is very nice to have something with some flavor that you can rehydrate with. Any kind of a rehydration powder would be great. But we've documented our trip up, and we hope that you will watch it. And if you're going to make the trip, feel free to reach out with any questions. If we know the answer, we'd be glad to help you out. But the video should explain a lot of what you can expect to camp out in the McKittrick Ridge in the Guadalupe Mountains. Okay, here we are at the McKittrick Trailhead. We are about to hike 7 miles, 3,500 foot of elevation. We're going to camp at the top, and we're going to come back down tomorrow, and we've got a great day ahead of us. About a quarter of a mile in, and we've made it down to this creek bottom, and it's got some nice flat flat rocks. We've been pretty much on a downhill for the first almost half mile. And looks like it's going to flatten out for just a little bit. And then we will start climbing. So we're about 3/4 of a mile in on the McKittrick Trail, and everything we've seen so far is still really flat. It's almost like a trail that you would see in a city somewhere around a lake or something. There was a few up and downs, but the views are spectacular. There's Sonia, and there's Albert. Hey, Albert. And we're gonna keep on the trail. All right, we're about 1 3/4 miles in, and we have hit this little stream here. Looks like there's some other people down here kind of hanging out. This is a pretty clear stream of water, flowing pretty good. It's got a little moss in it, but they said that it was acceptable with the national parks to fill your water. You got to filter it, but you can take the water here where you can step across. They said not to take water down the creek where there's vegetation, but you can fill your water bladders up here if you need to, but not really that far in yet, and it's been a really easy hike. So we're a little over 2 miles in on this McKittrick Ridge Trail, and we've crossed another dry river bottom. So we're about 2.5 miles in, still pretty flat terrain. We've had a few more up and downs. We've just crossed the dry creek again, and we stumbled across this little rock retainer wall, which is kind of cool. I wonder if it's not getting to the cabin. It's got a little entrance. Yeah, this is the Pratt Lodge. We're gonna go up and check out this Pratt Lodge and get some lunch in our bellies. Yay!
Yay!
So we made it to the Pratt Lodge, and it is an old stone structure. It even has a roof made out of flagstone. Pretty interesting. 2 or 3 little outbuildings, one down closer to the river and one further to the back. Met some people from New Braunfels and Midland here, and they were going to go to the grotto, so we'll probably catch back up with them in a little bit. We're going to stop and get some food in our bellies and see if we can't look at the map and figure out which one of those peaks we're headed to. So we're fixing up a little lunch here, me and Marty.
I'm gonna put him over here.
We're gonna let Marty and Albert over there and get some sun. So I'm boiling water in my MSR burner, and we're gonna have a Mountain House chicken and rice. Figured that would be a little bit lighter than stroganoff or something like that. So we're gonna wait for this water to boil and gonna pour it over that freeze-dried food and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And I'm gonna check the map. Okay, we've got our chicken and rice ready, and I'm gonna let her eat half, and then I'm gonna eat half so we don't have to wash any dishes. That's the easiest way. So I've got a little mess kit.
We are using the Mountain House Adventure Meals rice and chicken, and it's amazing.
It's amazing. And I always add some that pink Himalayan salt because it has electrolytes. It's good. It's good for you when you're working out, or if I'm doing a lot of riding my bike or whatever. I always take in a lot of salt. So I always add that to our food when we're on a good hike. So we're gonna eat our lunch. We are on about 3.2 miles at this point. We're seeing a pretty good incline, and I'm starting to see more dark soil where we've been just in the rocks before, but can definitely feel going uphill a little bit. Shouldn't be too far from the grotto. We have made it to the grotto, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna do a little walk through here. It's just actually off the main trail. You have to come down kind of by the river, and it's got some really neat formation. Kind of looks like it's just clay. Yeah, it's just clay. I think that the water has just eroded into this weird looking formation. I thought that was black where somebody had been in here lighting a fire, but it's moss that's growing on some of those tips. If you listen, yeah, there's water dripping on those points. So the points that are green down below and up above, it's got one little drip of water on it there, slowly dripping. Nothing super exciting about it, but I would say if you are on the McKittrick Trail, you might as well go see the grotto. Pretty cool. We're about to head out from the grotto. I thought I'd mention there is a small stream that's flowing, and it's crystal clear. It's got a lot of moss in it, but if you were to bring your sawyer, you could definitely top off on your water coming and going. I believe this is the last place for water, because the gentleman ahead of us said that once you get past the grottos where the climb starts. So if you did want to throw your sawyer in, you could top off with water. It does feel good to splash in your face to cool off a little bit. We picked pretty much the last weekend in March to go because it's been freezing cold up here up until this point, and now it's nice and cool at night, but it's already probably up into the 70s. The sun's shining, it's pretty warm. We're both sweating. I think we brought plenty of water. We brought 5 liters of water apiece, so I think we're gonna have plenty of water, but we're definitely feeling the warmth. We're about to hit the elevation on top of the sunshine, and from what we can tell, there's very little shade from this point forward. I think we're gonna be sitting ducks out there in the sunshine, but it's gonna be worth it. We're about 4.5 miles in, and there is no shade anywhere in sight. The sun's beating down pretty good. We're on a pretty good steady climb. I would say maybe 3%, 4% grade. Nothing that's too hard, but it's definitely not flat anymore. We can start to see some elevation where we're looking actually down on some scenery for a change instead of looking up. And I believe right over there on that ridge, I believe you can see the switchback trail over there. I'm not 100% sure, but It definitely looks like a switchback to me. I don't know exactly how we're gonna get over there, but we just keep trudging on this trail. I'm sure we'll get there. So we're about 4.5 miles in, and we finally found a little bit of shade, so we stopped to take a quick break, get our packs off. We're hauling about 35 pounds, 30 pounds with all the water and food and tent, all of our gear, so it gets pretty heavy. And all this uphill sunshine is wearing on us a little bit, but I hadn't been too bad yet. But there is a random spot with some shade on the trail, and let you get cooled off. Too bad there's not a bucket of cold water we can dump on our backs. But we're gonna rest up a minute and then back on the trail. We're only about 1/10 of a mile further than we were before, but we did find somewhat of a water source. That's just a stagnant pool, but just down this little wash, you can see another little bit of water there, and there was actually some, looked like 2 7/8 oil field pipe or something sticking out of the rock and had water trickling out of it. So if you get in a bind, you could always fill your sack and use your filtration and top off with water right here. And we are 4.63 miles in, so we've been still steadily climbing, and we've got pretty good little rocky climb coming out of this little bit of a washout. I'm gonna see if we can get a shot of that metal pipe. It looked like 2 7/8 upset tubing, kind of, sort of. Well, you can hear it down there, but it's just a trickle, but it would keep you alive with water. And we've actually found ourselves back in a little bit of shade here, on and off shade. Got some pretty neat rock formations where that rock has been washed out by the water. Pretty neat. And it's leveled off a little bit on the climb. We're still gradually going uphill, but it's coming out this ridge, so I think we're just coming out and around more so than gaining elevation at this point. Maybe 10-foot gain over 100-foot, so it's not too bad for a little while here. We're working hard to get up there. We'll be there soon. I think I saw this little section showcased in another video. It's pretty rocky through here. Lots of sun beating down on it. A very, very passable section, but very rocky. It's kind of interesting because it looks to me like limestone, but it has lots of quartz in it. I'm not for sure, not a geologist, but I'd be interested to know what type of rock this is, because it is interesting. Okay, we are at the 5-mile point, and we're exactly on the trail where I pointed at earlier saying, hey, that looks like the trail. That's where we are, and it has been climbing up rocks for the last half a mile, and it's been pretty steep, and we haven't found any shade until this point right here, which we've decided we were going to stop, take a quick break, So that straight down, I believe right there, that's the trail that we switched back up on, and we came down here. So the grotto is back that direction, and we've just followed this canyon around down, and we switched back there, and now we're headed up there. And I'm in the belief that I believe that's our peak that we're going to, either that peak or that peak. Looked on the map, and I was pretty determined it was that left peak. But now being here, and we still have 2 miles to go, I'm not real exact for sure, but it's not bad. We're kind of getting our second wind here. Sonia has taken a break for sure. We know that we need to take breaks so we don't overdo it before we get hopefully we'll be getting to the point called the Notch pretty soon, which is I was thinking the Notch was the halfway point, but we've already passed the halfway point, so I don't know. The Notch, I guess, is going to be closer to the top, but can't wait for that view, because this one is already pretty spectacular.
Can you see where it looks like it's dug out over there in the mountainside?
Where at?
On the mountainside.
To the left?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty neat.
A little over 5 miles in at this point. And it's, I think it's steadily getting a little steeper. Still really rocky. This almost looks like flint stone, but it still has that quartz. The view hasn't gone anywhere. It's still right there, but the terrain is quite rough, so you're mostly watching your step, not taking in the scenery. But we're still moving right along. We're getting on up here pretty close to 5.5 miles. It's definitely getting more featured. We've got over knee-high steps, and it's getting shorter and shorter on the switchbacks. We are probably, I think, fixing to bend around at probably four levels above where we were before, and starting to see more drilling on the switchbacks. Anyway, you can see right here where somebody brought a big drill up here, drilled some steps in, which is pretty cool. If it were just this way the whole way, it wouldn't be too bad. It's like climbing the Empire State Building or something. Probably gonna take a break at this point. Probably every half a mile or so. It's getting pretty aggressive. So I think that pine tree right down there is 2 levels down. That's half a mile away, and it's just right there because it switches way over there. So we're probably about 5.4 miles. So we're gonna probably take advantage of this shade. Take a break for a second. See where my lady is at. She's a trooper. You got some shade waiting on you at the top. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back on the trail soon. We are at a full 5.5 miles and still in these switchbacks. You can see it's almost treacherous back there, but not too bad. There's some pretty big step ups, but you know, the view is just getting better and better. We can actually look down and see a lot of the trail that we've been on from the top side, and you can look up and, you know, looks like we're getting pretty close. If the trail is 7.5, then we're 2 miles away. We were told the last 2 miles is the hardest, so we're kind of waiting on that to show up, but it hasn't been anything crazy. Well, the guy was right. We're in our last 2 miles and it is steep, very rocky. We've been stopping for a break really about every quarter mile. We had kind of planned on a half a mile to break, but this is pretty steep, pretty rocky, and we've been in direct sunlight most of it. We're finally in the shade here, but I think the last probably 2 miles of this thing is going to be pretty tough. That's what we were just told anyway, so it's coming true. But we have plenty of water. We shuffled some weight around on some packs, and I think we're gonna do just fine. It's kind of like walking the cakewalk here, round and round. Switchbacks getting really short, and I think from some of the videos we might be to the notch. Oh my goodness, it is.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
9. Oh, look at the little lizard. Oh god. There's something.
And we are at 5 3/4 miles, but we did hit the grotto and we did hit the little cabin. So there's a chance that we're actually only about what 5 1/4 to 5.5 miles of actual McKittrick trail. So we've probably still good 2 miles to go from this point, but it's like so close you feel like you can see the summit right there, which is probably what everybody calls Fall Summit. They said, oh, you think you're at the top, and oh no, you're not at the top. So we are at the notch. We have just crossed over the ridge and back on this trail. We are making our way up this ridge here, and the terrain's really not that bad. We're per my GPS we're at 5.8, so you know, 1/4 mile less than that probably with our stops. Trail's really not bad at all, but we are in the beating sun and there's nothing but bush. There's no trees, no shade, and it is pretty sunny, pretty warm. From the feel of it, I'd say probably mid 80s, but heat index is probably I would say closer to the 90s. But golly, this view let Sonia take a break. That little shade of that bush. I'm gonna come down here. Just try to get some of this view in the background. That is so awesome. And right down there, it looks like some kind of an old Indian cave that's been dug out. It's got a flat bottom right there by the river. That would be a really awesome campsite to hike in up that river. You'd have a kind of a straight shot just following that stream upstream. And it looks like, yeah, I guess that right there was that notch we came through. So far, amazing hike. Weather's great. It's just a lot of sunshine. I'm used to it because I work outside. But if you're not used to the sun, definitely want to get out and get some sunshine training before you tackle this section of the trail, because there's not a lot of shade. Okay, we are a little over 6 miles, probably 6 1/4. We are, I think, on the south side. Fatigue is setting in on both of us. Sunshine is really wearing on us. We're sweating. The breeze is kind of laid down. Definitely do not want to underestimate these last 2 miles, because they are serious. This is a very tough last 2 miles. But sure is pretty. When you think you're almost there and you look up and you're not even close. A little discouraging. We are about 6.5 miles and it is slow go. Still pretty steep, loose rocks, lots of vegetation on the trail. This is where shorts would be great for the temperature, but these yucca plants have little tiny thorns, and I would not want to be in a pair of shorts right now. So we should be within about a mile or so, but there's no end in sight. Sun's still beating down pretty good, and we're pretty close, and we're going to make it. We are just under 7 miles in, and we stopped in the shade here to take a little bit of a breather, and we're still with that same view. It's getting further and further away, but we're all excited because we found some snow. We're probably gonna take a bath in the snow, to be honest. We're gonna have it all over us and there's not gonna be any left. What we don't eat, we're gonna play with. Oh, we're so close. We're probably 3/4 of a mile away, and if I were guessing, I would say it's right up on that ridge right there, but I know better than to guess. So we're gonna take a quick break and be back on the trail. My GPS is putting us at 7.3, so we're probably just barely over 7 miles, and so we're getting really close. I think it's actually right over there, I think, is where we're headed. I could be wrong, but this is still just really steep, rocky terrain, and the switchbacks been chiseled out of the rock. And it's like every time we stop to take a look, it's like almost a different canyon, different perspective from looking down on it versus looking up. It's pretty amazing. We're nearly there. We're gonna do it.
Hey guys, it's Sonia. Just wanted to hop on here.
Keep it out a little ways.
Hop on here to say hi and let some of y'all know what it's like for a short woman, I guess. The weaker sex. I'm not afraid to admit that now, since Lynn had to graciously take my pack. Heat was getting to me. It was just too much, and I couldn't go anymore. I guess I made it to about mile 6 almost, and so now he's carrying 65 pounds of weight at the top. So I wanted to show y'all what that looks like.
Always carry an extra couple of carabiners just in case.
That's what that looks like. I hope y'all can see that. Yeah. So just really thankful for that and thankful for him.
We're a good 7 miles, 7.25. And we ran in this pretty cool little grotto up here on the side of this hill. Kind of washed out. Make a neat little shelter if you were stranded in a rainstorm or something. You could maybe slip up into that. It'd be kind of cool. We just hit a little section that's going back downhill for whatever reason. And so we're in the shade. We're going downhill. It's all great for the moment, but still got a ways to go. Yeah, we've just had our first experience with the false summit. We thought we were coming up here, and yet we see the little Razorback Trail going across that ridge, over, around, and up at an angle across. So we're headed over to that peak, and that's our spot. My GPS has us at 7.6 miles. So this trail is looking more like a good 8 to 8.5, if not more. Well, more than we were expecting. I guess we were expecting 7.5 miles. But it's all good. We can see the end, I think. I hope we're seeing the end. We've been going, let's see, we're at 7.6 miles. We're right at 6 hours in. So hopefully by the 7th hour we'll be there. This looks pretty narrow going across that ridge. It's kind of back down there. Kind of strange way to get to that point, but hey, that's it, I guess. We are about 8 miles, a little over 8 miles in. We have crossed that ridge, which was pretty nice. It looked pretty thin, but it was a nice, pretty nice smooth trails. Half of it was downhill and half of it was uphill. We're right back to about the elevation we were on the other side. We are on our way up, and we just stopped to rest for a minute, fixing to hit these natural stairs right there and go up, and I think we're getting pretty close. If not, we're probably going to start crying. But yeah, we'll definitely be deserving of that stroganoff for supper when we get there. Here we are, almost 8.5 miles. We're still not there yet. We are exhausted. Stomachs are growling, hungry. There is some pretty good shade up here though, and sun's not wearing us out as bad. We found a couple of little patches of Trail Magic snow, and kind of revived us a little bit. But we got to be so close. I mean, we said that though about 2 miles ago.
Yeah.
We were so if we're not, then we're gonna be in trouble.
There's nowhere to go but down, so it's
yeah,
gotta be near.
we hit that false summit. You know, they say there's like 3 false summits where you think, oh, I'm to the top, I can't go any higher, and you get up there and oh yeah, there's another one, and then oh, there's another one. So I think we've hit our 3 false summits, and I think we're getting really close. So we will come back on whenever we get to camp, and we will set camp up and get some stroganoff or something, anything. I would just about eat that aloe vera plant right now because we're both hungry. So, as I feared, that was not the summit. That was the 3rd false summit we were sitting under. So we still have a little bit of trail left. We are at 8 3/4 miles, and we're both hungry, but we're holding up. So we're gonna fight this thing out and get to camp, get some dinner going, because we're hungry. We made it. We are dead, but we made it. We come rolling into camp. There's 4 other campers up here, and they have been up here for a while, I guess. They came up a different route, they said. But we're both getting leg cramps, and so we're trying to hydrate really well. We got supper. We got chili mac with beef and beef stroganoff with noodles, and I did a little thing of instant mashed potatoes that are probably the best food of all 3. And we're gonna chill out here and relax for a little bit, and I think there's actually some campsites a little further down, so we'll probably move to those so we'll have more privacy. But 9.3 miles was a little more than what we figured, but this place does exist. It's here for real. All right, we are rested a little bit, and we've had some dinner. We've moved campsite. We've got our tent set up. We're both ready for bed, but it's still 8:13, so we're probably both thinking if we go to sleep right now, then we'll be up at midnight. So we're gonna try to take in some of the scenery. It's not really what I would say the greatest view from this campsite up here, worth 9 miles of grueling hiking. There were so many places on the way that we could have stopped and had an amazing hike, a camp. But hey, we checked this one off the list, so we've been here, we've done it, and I don't know that I would do it again, but it was fun. But just a quick rundown of our gear. River Country Products, this little 2-person tent, got it off of Amazon for in the 50s, $54 I think. The sleeping pad also came off of Amazon, and it had some pretty poor reviews, but it had enough good reviews that I thought we'd give it a try, and we've had it camping 3 or 4 times, and it's held up. It's great. It's probably less weight than my single wide, and it's a double wide, so it lets us only carry and inflate 1 pad instead of 2. So it's been pretty good. Other than that, we got a little bit of a messy camp. but we're so exhausted that we've been on our backsides pretty much since we've been here. But we're gonna get rested up, and we'll kind of give you a little bit of a look at the sunrise maybe in the morning coming up, and we're gonna head home. Thanks for watching.